waking up tonight, mulling under the moonlight. Never thought to let it go. Soul searching out of your window. Days, never sleep unless your head's by mine. Holding on to what we call divine. Do you think we're running out of time? Too late to stay, too dark for you to head home. Lay here with me, we'll watch another episode. Don't say goodnight. Stay by my side. Daylight rushes in over your emerald eyes. Guess that means that we're all out of time. Like a dream, you only come out at night. Am I crazy? Watch the sun as it's fading. Can't believe I'm waiting around on you. So complicated. I thought that you would leave it, yet here we are under the moon. Too late to stay, too dark for you to head home. Lay here with me, we'll watch another episode. Don't say goodnight. Stay by my side. Too late to stay, too dark for you to head home. Lay here with me, we'll watch another episode. Don't say goodnight. Stay by my side. Too late to stay, too dark for you to head home. Lay here with me, we'll watch another episode. Don't say goodnight. Stay by my side.
Hello, everybody. Very interesting match has just transpired. It's a post-mortem, as always, in these shows. We try to dissect what we've just watched. That's what we are going to be doing today, as always, as it ended Arsenal 1, City 1. In such a weird game. Absolutely weird in respect of like result, weird in terms of like Arsenal's starting 11, weird in terms of how City set up as well. So we're going to be touching on all of those things today. And I'm in a pretty good mood for someone whose team just conceded a last minute goal. I guess that is also like a weird thing. Like, how should we even feel about this, given our expectations going into the match and then our expectations as the match was progressing? What have we learnt from this match, if indeed anything? I think that we have learnt a lot, and I think, from my perspective, I actually think that we've learnt quite a lot of good, positive things. So I'm going to be generally quite, I don't know if upbeat's the right word, but I'm going to be pretty positive about the overall match. That's not the same as being, I'm ecstatic and I'm really happy, blah, 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 blah. I do think there were a lot more positives than negatives, however. So I'm going to be far more, as I say, exuberant than one might expect from a side that's just, conceded a last-minute equaliser. Such are some of the positives that I've been able to identify. Now, that's not the same as saying it was an amazing, flawless, perfect performance, and we should be. And if you dare question anything negative, then you're just a negative. No, that's not fair. There were some flaws which we can also discuss, and some potential teething issues. However, overall, the main thrust of today's stream is going to be quite positive. To be honest with you, it's going to be quite positive, and that's good. And that's really good. We've ultimately got 7 points out of games against United, Napoli, and Arsenal. I reckon if you said, and I know we'll talk about the context of the match and how that's largely irrelevant, but I reckon that if you said to like most City fans before this week started that we'd win, draw, and get 7 points overall in those matches, I don't think many City fans would have believed you. And I think most of them would have absolutely taken that. So I'm definitely going to bear in mind that context as well. And And I think that actually over the past week we've done really well. So of course we're going to go through the player performances, how both sides set up, and blah 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 blah. As always, this is a back and forth show, so please get your thoughts in the comments. Leave a like on the stream because it's free and it helps you boy. If you want to go the extra mile, you can do so by becoming a member of the channel. The join button is wherever it is, and I'm bald now. And if you can't see the join button, click the link in the video description if you want to join these lovely people in the Hall of Fame. Let's get straight to it though, shall we? First of all, with the chat, and then we'll get into the actual match. Haaland, can't speak. Haaland Golden Boot charge positive at least. Yeah, how many is he on now? Is that 6? Is that 6 Premier League goals? Insane. Another one against Arsenal. Great record against Arsenal he has. Is it 5 goals in 7 games? Something dumb. Hello Bengal, one of my beautiful members. And Natando's not satisfied. That's reasonable. That's fair. As someone said, we needed this type of defence last season. I'm happy looking forward. Plus Gyökeres pocketed, says Matthew. Definitely. Another great Doku performance. Yes, 100%. It's 6 goals. That's crazy. 6 goals. That's mad. Willing not to lose, says Paul. Doku, best left winger in the league. Says True Citizen. Are you confident for the Champions League? We can use this as a plan B. We'll get into this in a bit more detail. But yeah, definitely overall, I'm happy with the concept of this side can play like this. And I didn't think that I didn't think that we would be able to play like this, in all honesty. It did require a change in setup, but nevertheless we still played like this. So that's good. That's good. Superb game, says Paul. Bookies had Arsenal win massively. Odds on. That says everything. Oh, there's no doubt Arsenal were the favourites here, definitely. I think, of course, they'll have the high of they've just got a last-minute equaliser. But I think upon reflection, when the dust has settled in a day or two, I think Arsenal fans will look back on this and they'll go, why didn't you start like a proper team? Why didn't you start like an actual left-sided outlet? Why did you not bring one on at all? Really? Very odd. Very odd. Yeah, Doku was my man of the match. Definitely. It's difficult to watch us play this style of play so out of our comfort zone. Yeah, Louise, I think I agree. It's very nerve-wracking, isn't it? And it's one of those risk versus reward things. Of course, if it works and we don't concede that silly goal at the end, then we're all sat here going, it's a masterclass. But now we're having a different conversation about it, potentially. Mourinho or Guardiola. Sanchez says, have I changed my mind on Cristiano at right back? No. Still the same thought process. He can be a competent right back. I don't think he'll ever be an elite right back. And we're still yet to see, really, because when Eze came on, I thought that maybe he was going to play off the left, but instead it wasn't the case. And to be fair, Cristiano went off at halftime anyway, didn't he? But no, I expected him to play well against Trossard, to be honest with you. No idea about the injury situation. Hopefully they are okay, though. Hopefully they are okay. That 11 we rocking needs to be played in the Champions League, says Matthew. Should have had 2 goals. Yeah, that was so annoying, wasn't it? Again, just little details let us down. Should we start with those little details maybe, and then we can get into more of the positives? So what were the little details that let us down ultimately? This is definitely one of them. Doku did so well. He did so well to create the chance, because at that stage in the game, you're dealing with a situation where your backs are up against the wall. Arsenal have now brought on some offensive threats in Saka, who I didn't think was particularly good, and Eze, who was quite good. They're looking a lot more dangerous. So at that point, it was even more important to potentially create something on the counter. And Doku did exactly that. He somehow found Haaland the way he did. And yeah, Haaland simply has to. He has to play it out to Foden. I didn't like that. I didn't like that from Haaland. Was it because he didn't see him? If he didn't, why isn't he looking? If he did see him, why isn't he playing it to him? And if you're going to take the shot there, when you have a player who is basically there to square it so he can hit an open net, you've got to score. You have to be supremely confident that you're going to score the goal. and it was a bit of a tame shot in the end, straight at Raya. So that was very frustrating. So that was like one little detail. Had to pass it to Foden. We should be talking about maybe a 2-0 win, and Haaland and Foden again combining for goals there. So that is frustrating. That is annoying. That's not ultimately why we lost. That's not ultimately why we didn't win. But that's again just a little detail to iron out. And I'm starting with the negatives, and then we can touch on more positives, because I do think there are more positives than negatives to discuss. Here's a fortune for Nicholas. Your dream will come true when you least expect it. Interesting. There you go. Thank you for your super chat, Nicholas. Ake is cooked. He's lost his pace. Nunes was okay. I thought Nunes was better than okay. What did Nunes do? And we'll get into the individuals in the positive bit. What did Nunes do wrong in that second half defensively? He wasn't good going forwards on those two occasions when he slipped. But what did Nunes do wrong defensively? I don't think he did anything wrong defensively. I think that he was really good, to be honest with you. Even when Saka came over to try to deal with him, Nunes never had a problem. So I think Nunes was really solid defensively. Yeah, slipped a lot going forwards, but defensively, can't remember him making an error. So I'm going to say, tip your hat or whatever the term, say big up to Nunes for that. So yeah, that was one of the small details, the Haaland pass. And of course, little details are ultimately what cost us the goal. And it's why we're not celebrating a really, really positive victory today. There are I've watched it back a number of times now, that goal, from different angles as well. So I'm hopefully able to shed some light on this. So there are at least 3 errors from City, and I'd argue a refereeing error as well, but hey-ho, that's a thing. So in the first instance, the combination of Reinders, Savio, Nico, they make a bit of a mess of it, to be honest. It's the 90th minute. And you're winning, and the whole point is to be stable on the ball. There's no point of committing all these bodies forward at that point. And if you are going to do that, fine, but you have to go into the corner. And I don't know why, but for whatever reason, they tried to go central, and that just was never the play. You had to go out wide, because if you lose the ball there, you can at least get a throw in. You can waste another 20, 30 seconds, something like that. Ultimately, they didn't do that. The pass runs astray, and then it turns into Nico on Calafiori. I will say I do believe that's a foul, for what it's worth, but it's irrelevant, because City still could defend the goal that happened. The goal, that wasn't an action which directly led to a goal, was it? The ball was still in Arsenal's half. So that's a thing to note. But it is a bit frustrating, and it's very frustrating, that our players opted to try to, as I say, go into the centre, because it's almost like they're playing. I think it was Sarah or Louise who said it earlier. They're sort of playing against their nature, a lot of these players, by playing like that with this different style of play. So maybe was there still something in their head about, we're an attacking side, we need to go forwards. I don't care what it was. You've got to look at the state of the game as it was. And the state of the game as it was meant that you had to go out wide. You simply had to. That being said, the ball is still in Arsenal's half. This is one little moment of, I guess, shot prevention. You know what I mean? Because ultimately it does lead to a shot. But there's still moments where the shot can be stopped. Thank you so much, Luciano, for your super chat. Love that from you. Didn't even say anything, just thank you. Thank you, matey. Love that. Nice profile picture of Sane. So it's okay. A mistake has been made, but it's not the end of the world. Not every time you give up the ball, that doesn't mean a goal's going to happen. So if we're apportioning blame, I'd say that's I don't even know what I'd say that is, less than 20% of the actual blame. It's pretty low down. It's frustrating that it happened, but at the end of the day, the ball is still in Arsenal's half, so City can still deal with it, no problem. Giving the ball away in a silly place when you should have gone to the corner doesn't always lead to a goal happening, does it? It's a silly moment, but it's not the end of the world. Eze picks up the ball, and it is, first of all, it's a really good ball by Eze. Now, I'm going to fundamentally disagree that the concept of the high line is a mistake in itself. I will say that Ake should have done better blocking off Martinelli. That is reasonable to say. Martinelli shouldn't be able to make that run behind him. And if Ake just stands his ground and is physical against Martinelli, then nothing happens thereafter. So I'm going to say that what Ake did was more to blame than what, like Nico / Savio / Reinders did there. That being said, that still is not the reason why ultimately City conceded the goal. So Ake makes the error. Okay, that's a shame. Now Martinelli's running in behind. Again, I'm not even entertaining the concept that City played a high line, that equals bad. No, we always play a high line. It's not a problem. And as we'll get into, if Ake was just a bit stronger, then if Ake's a little bit stronger, then Martinelli can't even make that run. Guardiola then does really, really well. I showed the screenshots at the end of the watch-along. I can show them again if you'd like. Guardiola does fantastically well to put Martinelli into a situation where he does not have control of the ball because it's bouncing, and he's also guiding Martinelli away from the goal. There is no world that Martinelli can score now because of Guardiola doing really good defensive work. Again, Ake may have made the error there. However, Guardiola has at least dealt with it. The problem, thank you so much, Abanab, for the gift. Whoever got that, say thank you. Thank you so much, Abanab. Very generous as always. I don't know who got it, though. If you got it, then let me know. Let us know. Say thank you to Abanab. Yeah, let's have W's in the chat for Abanab for gifting us. So that's very kind of you. Fnatic Ultra as well, which is like the middle tier. So thank you so much, mate. Ultimate got it. Hey! It didn't show up on my chat. Excellent work. That's nice because Ultimate's obviously a lovely lad. So there we go. We love to see that. Big W there. Again, so Guardiola does really, really well. And I'm going to talk about the negatives again. We'll get into the positives. I want to talk about the positives. I want to get this out of the way. The problem then is that sadly the goalkeeper is out of position. Now I've watched it back a number of times because I've seen and I accepted this as a potential explanation. People saying, well, is Donnarumma simply that high up because he's ready to deal with the fact that City are playing a high defensive line, so he's therefore got to be slightly higher up. Now, I agree with that to a point. However, I have since watched it back, and if you watch it back on one of the angles from the from the goal's perspective, what Donnarumma actually does is he goes forwards. So there is not even an attempt to revert back to his line, even though there is clearly time to do it. It's just a reaction thing, and it's just about the brain not thinking quickly enough, I believe. So even if I'm to accept, and I could be tempted to accept this, that Donnarumma's starting position from the Eze ball isn't inherently wrong, even though I don't agree with that necessarily, because Donnarumma isn't a sweeping goalkeeper. Like, he's done less than one sweep per 90, for example, in Ligue 1 last season. That's a tidbit from the analysis video. Can't really remember him ever sweeping for City so far. That's not his style. But for argument's sake, let's just accept that his starting position was fine. As soon as you realise that the ball is coming in from Eze, you simply have to backtrack. And if anything, he does the opposite. He actually moves a bit more forward and to the side. So he moves a bit forward and laterally when he should be going backwards. Now, that is fundamentally an error. So it is an amalgamation of problems, but if we are apportioning blame, then there is no doubt in my brain, and that rhymes, that the chief culprit is obviously the goalkeeper, followed by Ake, followed by Nico / Reinders / Savio giving the ball away high up the pitch. So that, I don't know like what apportioning we can do. Like, if you want to say 60, 30, 10, I don't care. But that is clearly the sequence of events, because you can get away with giving away the ball because you've just given away the ball. That doesn't necessarily lead to every single time. You can get away with Ake being weak from Martinelli because Guardiola's dealt with it. Guardiola has basically remedied Ake's error. You can't get away with the final act, and that is a shame. And that's all it is. It's a shame, and we move on, and it's happened, and this is what... I don't think it'll be the first time either. It will simply happen. We'll just obviously have to see whether the positives outweigh the negatives. I hope they do. Small details, as I say, just little details. But if we can iron those out, if we can get rid of those like positioning errors from the keeper, for example, if we can make it so that our defenders are actually blocking off players, if we can make it so that we don't give it away in silly areas in the 90th minute, then we don't concede that goal, do we? So those are the little details. And again, Haaland should have passed it to Foden. That makes it 2-0. That's a shame. That's frustrating. But it's happened. It's done. Those are the small details. Let's talk about the positives now, because as I say, I think there are a lot more positives to talk about in the match than negatives, to be honest with you. I'm just going to get the lineup here to try to help me out with that. It's my fucking mouse. My mouse is out of power. Damn it. Bear with me, guys. I'm a professional, and I always make sure that all my streaming equipment is fully charged and ready to go. Oh, and also, it was a great finish as well, but that doesn't take away from the fact that the only reason the finish is allowed to happen is because of the positioning. So that's worth noting. Both things can be true. It can be a great finish, and it can also be an error, but both things can be true. And indeed, both are true. Is the mouse ever charged? Well, it's wireless, isn't it? So it's got to be charged sometimes, hasn't it? Who shall we start with, or what shall we start with? Maybe we should break it up into halves, because I do think the first half was a little bit better, but I do think that was partly informed by how Arsenal played, rather how they set up. But either way, even though Arsenal set up really weird in that first half by just not having a left-sided outlet, whatever, that happened, at City were really good. Really good. And not in the areas that you would associate City being strong with. And that's across a lot of their players as well. I thought that in the first half, less so in the second half, but in the first half, for example, I thought Donnarumma was really good at dealing with corners. As I say, it trailed off in the second half, but the first half did not put a glove wrong. Wonderful. Our midfield were amazing at winning second balls. Never, ever would I have ever said that Foden and Reinders would get the better of Rice, Moreno, Zubamendi from a second ball perspective. Like, there were times where Reinders was nicking the ball off these players, for example. Of course, you expect it from Rodri. I do also expect it from Foden a little bit, to be fair, but I wouldn't expect Foden to have won more second balls and those loose balls and whatnot as he did, considering the level of the opponent. That was really good to see. And that was always going to be a big concern for me if we did end up playing a more direct approach. We, based on the numbers, don't have the players to do that. But today, in the first half anyway, certainly, they did it really well. They executed it really well. Now, I don't know how much of that is just because, Arsenal players weren't in particularly good form or whatever, but I don't care. At the end of the day, Foden and Reinders won the second ball battle. And that was so important from us. So we're not going to be talking about a lot of these players on ball, because aside from maybe Doku and obviously Haaland for the goal, there weren't too many good on ball contributions, because that's just how the match was. That's how it came to be. But off ball, that's been the struggle for City. Last season, even the season before that, to be fair, and of course to start this season, off ball has been the key issue, and City were really good. Now we did change it. In fairness, we did change it. The 4-1-4, the out of possession against United was different to the out of possession against Napoli, was different to the out of possession against Arsenal. So we went 4-4-2, essentially. Now, I'd have to watch it back, because I can't remember if we started 4-4-2, but certainly after the goal went in, I distinctly remember that's when I pointed it out on stream, when, oh, it's actually Bernardo and Haaland, as leading the press. How interesting. Now, again, I can't remember if that's how it started. I'll rewatch it, of course, so I can do my analysis video, but certainly for the majority of that match, we were playing 4-4-2 before the back five situation happened. So you had Foden off the right. As I say, you had Bernardo leading the press. That was a lovely time. And City looked really, really solid. And we know that, in fairness, we know that City can look really solid 4-4-2. That's how we won the... that is how we won the treble. We played 4-4-2 off ball. That's how we won the four in a row. We played 4-4-2 off ball. So it will be interesting to see if this is something that we continue to do. Are we abandoning the 4-1-4-1, or is it just a one-game thing? Because if you watch the Bilbao game, the way that Bilbao got so much joy against Arsenal off ball was by playing 4-4-2 and being really compact, both from a narrow and horizontal perspective. And Arsenal couldn't really play through them. They didn't have Ødegaard that day either. So I wonder, like, did Pep and did City look at that and go, well, they struggled here. They're probably not going to have Ødegaard. Could they do a similar thing? And maybe that's the thing. Faisal, I think you're right. It was due to the circumstances which led to it. Maybe this is just a one-off. But how good is it to know that if we so desired, we could play like this and we can be compact in both horizontal areas and vertical areas. And we can be really good in our pressing. That's promising, in my opinion. That's really nice and that's really good to see. That's really positive, in my opinion. It did help that Arsenal were just, again, bad from the centre in the first half. They were bad from the left in the first half. The only threat they had was off the right with Madueke. Trossard's doing nothing at left wing in 2025. A midfield of Rice, Zubimendi, Moreno is not particularly creative, so that they weren't really going to be able to generate any chances, and so it came to be. The term we use on this channel is black hole, and that's basically what it was. It started from the left, it went into the centre as well. The only joy they got was Madueke, where he had that one shot, didn't he, to Donnarumma's near post, and he did well to save it, of course. So yeah, first half was really, really good. And a lot of the second half was decent as well, but of course, that's when Arsenal brought on their game changers, and we had to do a lot more defending, and it looks a lot less more measured and controlled, and it did feel more like we were hanging on to something, whereas in the first half, it did feel more like, yeah, we are, of course, defending, but we're really happy to do this, and it's not like you're forcing us to do it. It's like we are just actively doing it. Like, even at 0-0, we were just actively doing it. And that's how the first goal was scored as well. Winning the second ball on the counter-attack. Calafiore had pushed up to left wing at that point. That's one of the drawbacks, having a defender pushing up that high, obviously. And then once, it's Hall and Reinders has got the pass to Hall, and it's going to be a goal. It's a great finish, to be fair, with his weak foot. What time in the match was the Holland missed pass to Foden? I do not know. I can find out because I can look at when Haaland took the shot. It was in the 57th minute. That's when he took the shot. That's when he just had to pass it to him. That's when he had to pass it to him. So that's a thing. That is a thing. Haaland should have scored 2 goals, says Nathan. I mean, he should have got a goal and an assist, to be fair. He shouldn't have taken that shot there. He shouldn't have taken the shot there at all. That was an error from him, and again, he had to. But that was a small detail that we touched on earlier. Yeah, don't spam, guys, or moderators will time you out. They will time you out. Don't ban them, but do time them out. Second half happened, and again, game breakers were brought on, and from there it did feel a little bit more less measured, I'd say, less measured. That was inevitable. Like, Eze came on in the centre, Saka came on. I don't think he was particularly good, but he came on as well, so he tried to be a threat off that left side. And we've discussed the goal, so it was a similar out of possession situation, but I did feel like City were a little bit less measured, and it was a little bit less controlled, if that makes sense. First half I felt much safer in the first half compared to the second. I don't know. I feel like we were forfeiting too much territory and too much space to Arsenal at that point. So maybe we can touch on like the individual performances now. Donnarumma, who we outlined as one of those details that we need to iron out for the goal that was conceded, but. First half, really a good save from Madueke. It's a save I'd expect him to make, but it's still a good save, of course. The corner claiming got worse in the second half. The punches were a little bit less measured. Like, he was like punching it backwards sometimes. That was a bit of a shame, but overall, I didn't think he had a good game. As I say, it's a shame about the goal. Back four. Very impressed with overall, like the ones that started. Yeah, O'Reilly was very good, wasn't he? Now, he went off apparently with an injury. We need him to be good, given Aït-Nouri is also still out, because right now we're going to have to be playing Ake or Gvardiol out at left back, and that is not ideal in 2025. So hopefully O'Reilly can come back to full fitness, and I don't know what the situation is with Ait Noor. I don't know when he's scheduled. It says here on FootMob late October, which would be a shame if that is true. So hopefully we can get an update on O'Reilly ASAP in that sense. Guardiola was really good. Gave it away a couple of times, but overall he was really good. I thought Diaz looked really solid. He looked really solid. He's clear. We all know that Diaz is a defender who likes to defend, and we know that if you put Diaz into a situation where the emphasis is on sitting deep and defending, he's going to actually have a really good defensive performance, because in respect to box defending, that is his bread and butter. So he looked really solid as well. I thought he had a great game against Gyökeres, who I thought was poor, by the way, in the game. Can't really recall Gyökeres doing too much, to be honest with you. So that's the thing. Both right backs performed really well. Kusanov, to be fair, I would expect him to beat Trossard every single day, and we touched on the fact that Arsenal had no left-sided threat, so he didn't have to do much, but everything he did do was good. Nunes had a lot more to do in that second half. Hopefully Kusanov isn't too badly injured. I'm assuming he was injured to come off at half-time, because he was doing a fine job. Nunes had a lot more defending to do. As I say, Saka ghosted over to that left side. Lots more crosses came in. I thought he dealt with it really well. The only times where Nunes made an error was when he came forwards, and he slipped on those two occasions. But defensively, truly, like, name me a moment where like Nunes did a bad thing or made an error or that sort of thing. I actually can't even think of one. I thought he was properly solid in that second half, and as I say, that's even more impressive when you consider the fact that, I mean, it was still dealing with Trossard for the most part, but still, Saka did come over every now and then. So that was lovely to see from Nunes. Like, we didn't become weaker with that change, and I was concerned that we were going to become a lot weaker when that change happened, but that was not the case. So that was really good to see. So the whole defence, generally speaking, aside from the whole defence and goalkeeper, aside from the goal, and which we've discussed with Donnarumma's error and Ake not being good enough at blocking off Martinelli, overall, really, really happy with how they played. I thought they were, can't recall too many errors defensively. They looked really, really good. They won a lot of their duels and challenges and second balls, and they were strong aerially, and they had to be, and it was really good defensive display overall. So I'm very happy with that. Should we go into like the midfield now? Rodri, again, looked really good. Rodri's looking a lot more like Rodri now. That's fantastic. Reinders, I think he had a weird game, because in that first half in particular, he was winning a lot of second balls and loose balls, as we discussed. Second half, less so. We touched on like how he could have had a better decision-making process for their goal ultimately. But overall, I thought he was fine. Obviously got the assist as well. That was nice to see. So that's the thing. I'm not going to go too hard on him. There were a couple moments where he should have been stronger, but overall, I thought he was fine. Bernardo Silva as well, a little knobhead that he is. Like, I think like Musty said it in the watch-along, that like Bernardo's a player who you would hate if he was playing for the opponent. But Bernardo looked good. Stupid decision to get yellow carded, but it didn't really matter. Like, he played the full 90, he was absolutely fine. Again, I thought he looked solid overall. I still wonder, at some point, should we have like swapped him and like kept Foden on the pitch just to have a bit more like counter-attacking threats? But as it was, what Bernardo did, he was fine, whatever. Foden, who we've touched on, not particularly good on ball, but that's because we just simply didn't have the ball in the right areas. Defensively is what I think we can judge him on, and defensively he was really, really good. Solid in the second ball, solid in the loose balls, really good with the defensive actions generally. Popping up at right wing back at times, like when Calafiori would push up. So really, really good defensive shift. So many clearances as well. Really great defensive performance from Foden. Very happy with it. Yes, very happy with it. On the topic of great defensive performances, and my man of the match, Doku. Another great game from him. That's 3 great games in a row. So unfortunate and unlucky to not actually get like a goal contribution or like a goal involvement. He should have got the Haaland tried to get him an assist for his second, what could have been his second. It should have been a pre-assist because Haaland should have passed it to Foden, but Doku creates that chance. Yeah, Doku was absolutely sensational, I thought. Off-ball, warrior, great dual work, but on ball as well, he was a really good outlet. If you, and I know it's not what came to pass, but if you're sort of like in the 85th, 90th minute, you want, and sadly Doku wasn't on the pitch at that point because he came off the 87th minutes and not the 90th minutes. If you have Doku on the pitch, he's got that Jack Grealish gene of winning those fouls and being really clever about when to do it. There was a moment where he was surrounded by 4 or 5 Arsenal players, had no right to do anything with the ball, and he forces Rice into a foul. That's priceless. That's priceless. That kills like 30 seconds of the game and that sort of thing. Yeah, he was absolutely wonderful. So again, so unfortunate. There was a moment again late in the game where he combined really well with Reinders, and he attempted the shot and it was just wide. It was a really nice idea. No idea how he even got into that situation in the first place. That's how impressive he was. So I was really happy with Doku. He is my man of the match by a fair margin. It's so positive seeing him perform like this, because there has been a lot of scrutiny. Some of it's been fair. A lot of it hasn't been fair, though. A lot of it has been really unfair and unjust. But it's nice to see that he's like bounced back / reacted to that criticism. Again, some of it warranted, a lot of it not. And long may it continue, man. Long may it continue. At this point, like, Marmoush is going to struggle to get into the side. Like, Doku's one of the first names on the team sheet if he keeps performing like this. Really fantastic. And it's a shame that he came off, and maybe we can like talk about the substitutions. Now, I don't know what the fitness or injury situation is, but I agree with you, Joel, that if Doku wasn't injured, then Savio should not have come on. This is not me having a go at Savio, but Savio is clearly not like match sharp or match fit. He's played like a collective 20 minutes, I feel like. He hasn't started yet. He needs to start against Huddersfield and get like that match sharpness and whatnot. Again, if Doku was injured, fine. But if he wasn't, very confusing. And maybe we can talk about the subs now in the context of Haaland, who obviously got the goal. And that was really, really lovely by him, of course. I've talked about my frustration of that. The subs were odd. Now, again, there is the context of, were some of these players simply injured and not, or like they were like running on fumes and they simply weren't able to continue. Like, this side has started 3 games in a row now, this whole starting 11. So Haaland came off in the 76th minute. Now, was that just because he had to come off? Because he just couldn't run anymore? Did he like say, I physically can't do this, I need a rest, I'm going to get injured, I'm not contributing enough off ball now? If that's the state of play, then fine, there's nothing you can do about it. But if it wasn't, then that was an error to take him off, because he was a very reliable outlet for us. In fact, he was our only aerial outlet, to be honest with you. He was our only aerial outlet. And when he came off, and who came on for him? Nico Gonzalez, and I think like Doku went to the centre, didn't he? It just took one of our weapons away. Like, Haaland was doing really good at holding up the play from Gabriel and Saliba. And maybe that's all it is, Fenway. Yeah, he did look tired, didn't he? Maybe he simply had to come off. It was a shame that he did come off. The Doku one, I can like excuse a little bit less, because it's the 87th minute, so you're nearly at the end of the game anyway, and Doku didn't look like he was exhausted. He looked like he was fine. Maybe that was just like to waste time. I don't know, but either way, I did feel like we lost something when Doku went off, because he was so valuable as our outlet in those moments, and so valuable like taking the ball and like winning fouls as well. So the subs were a bit upsetting, to be honest with you. They were a little bit upsetting. And another sub that happened was we went to a back 5. Of course, like, so Foden went off. Wasn't really happy with that, but whatever. Ake comes on. Back 5 time. And again, we looked really solid. I don't dislike the change to a back 5. We clearly decided at that point, look, we've scored the goal. We're not even going to try to really properly take the game to them at all. Like, let's just commit to defending, because unless we make an error, and sadly that's what ended up happening, they aren't going to break through us. Let's back ourselves to defend. Now, again, that's a very high-risk strategy. You are properly backing yourself. And if you concede the late goal, it's like when Arsenal did it, in that 2-2, and you're inviting pressure. And you're not asking for it, but you are certainly inviting a lot of pressure. And you're asking your players to do a lot more defending than they would maybe like to do. So maybe you can make the argument that going to the back five wasn't the correct call. Maybe like we should have been a bit more positive. I don't know if I agree with that, because ultimately the reason why we weren't able to hang on to the win is because our players gave it away in the centre of the pitch. Ake didn't block off Martinelli, and then Donnarumma's positioning is horror for the goal. So I don't know if I'm going to blame a formation change or going overly defensive, because it was working, to be honest with you. Again, they didn't have too many chances in the game. I feel like City limited them really well. But yeah, Savio focal point was insane. Like, Doku should have just stayed on. Haaland should have stayed on if he was able to do so, but certainly the Doku one is a little bit odd and confusing. Yeah, we did it against United as well, didn't we, Mohammed? When United, when we were 3-0 up at that point, So that was literally, who cares? Let's just punt it up. It's more interesting we did it at 1-0. But hey, that's the thing. 4-4-2 would have been just as good or better than converted to a 5-back, says Nilesh. I'm not sure. I don't know. I think at that point we basically just sacrificed the forward areas. I don't necessarily disagree with changing to a back five. I don't view that as a mistake inherently. It's arguable, but I don't view that as like a definite mistake, that sort of thing. Fenway says, part of going to the 5-back was lack of quality on the bench. In the attacking side, we needed subs, and other than Bob, all the quality was at the back. It's a good point. We don't have Marmoush to kill games like this. This would have been a perfect game for Marmoush. A perfect game. Like, he would have thrived. He would have thrived today, like coming on late and like making those runs in behind. Literally would have been perfect for him. Just like to try to run to the end of punts from our defence or from Donnarumma, that sort of thing. It's a shame that he wasn't available, of course. And yeah, you are right. Like, we didn't have too many offensive options. Like, we didn't make a single. I was going to say we brought on Savio, didn't we? But there weren't really too many. And that is just because Shirky's injured, Marmoush is injured, Aït-Nouri is injured, which is a bit of a shame, of course. But yeah, definitely would have been a game for Marmoush had it been a thing. And maybe we will see it in latter stage, tricky Champions League games away from home, where that's more of a thing. You know what I mean? That could be a situation. I'm not sure, though. It will be interesting to see, was this a one-off? Was it just because we were reacting to Arsenal? Or is there more to it than that? We've got over 300 people watching, which is very lovely, guys. Do make sure to leave a like on the video. It's free. We've not even got to 150 likes. Come on, mate. Sort it out. Sort it out. Leave a like, you little frauds. Leave a like. I don't know if there's been any updates on Kusanov or anything like that. I'm unaware. Hopefully, we'll get an update before the Huddersfield game. That being said, if any of these players who started today if they are starting, apart from maybe Bernardo, because that sounds harsh, I don't really care about Bernardo. If anyone other than Bernardo who started today starts against Huddersfield, I'm going to go insane, because there is no way that they can start 4 games in a row, like based on how back-to-back it has been and based on the level of intensity from today's game as well. Like, we know that we didn't have too much work to do off ball against Napoli, but we had a hell of a lot to do today. That is draining. That is mentally draining. That is physically draining. They need a rest. Players like Foden, Haaland, Guardiola, I would not even have them on the bench. I would run Trafford, Mafuni, Ake, Stones, Nunes, Nico, Gonzalez, Lewis, Mukasa, Bernardo, why not? Because he can do everything. Savio, and then I don't fucking know. Someone else up top. Like, someone from the academy. I don't even know or care. Someone, though. A Bob. Throw Bob in there as well, yeah. Well, Bernardo false 9. I'll probably have a Bob false 9. That works, doesn't it? Or Mukasa false 9. That sort of situation. That would be a thing. That would be the team I'd run with. Just like mass rotation. outside of Bernardo, because I think we are physically running out of players because due to the injuries, unless like Kovacic makes a return, like we will need one of these players to start just based on the pure numbers. Get him a ticket to Ibiza, yeah. Exactly. Yeah, but exactly. Heskey, McAdoo, whoever. Literally whoever. One of them, because that's still a senior side. It can't be a full 11 of academy players, because Ake, Stones, Nunes, Nico, Lewis, they need starts as well. So a fair few senior players, but interlace that with a lot of those as well. That's what needs to happen. That's what needs to happen. I think Kovacic is still injured, Nerd Central. It says here, again, don't know how accurate FootMob is, early October. So I don't know if he's going to be able to be available for Huddersfield, which is on Wednesday, isn't it? Well, there will be a watch-along for that game, by the way. There will be a game. There will be a watch-along for that game, sorry. There won't be like any analysis videos, but there will absolutely be a watch-along. God, and the matches are coming thick and fast. Burnley Saturday, Monaco Wednesday. Dearie me, but as I say, hope these players will now have a week off. Starting wise anyway. Oh, Calvin Phillips maybe. Yeah, maybe even play Calvin Phillips. I don't know. You know, I don't care. Like, I know it's away against Huddersfield. What division are Huddersfield in? Are they in the Championship or are they like properly stinky? Where are we looking? They're in League One. They are fifth, to be fair, but they are a third tier side. They're a third tier side. So we should be able to beat them with the side that I have just named. That's not disrespect. That is reality. We should be battering the Terriers in that sense. Hashtag say no to animal abuse. That's outrageous behaviour. Bar any serious injuries, do you start the same 11 at Monaco? Why not? If it's working, it's working. If it's working, then it's working. And right now, guys, it's working. And it's been... And that was the thing that I guess most... I don't know if impressed is the right word, but it's the thing I was like the happiest with. Is we've had 3 games now with the same starting 11, and yet the off-ball structure and the style of play has been different in every single game. That's been really nice to see. That's been really, really lovely to see. Against United, we had Foden starting in the centre, and what else did we do? And we just like dominated their midfield. Against Napoli, the 4-1-4-1 was slightly different. There was less emphasis on the fullbacks, more so on the midfield. Again, 10 men, but it still happened even when there was 11 versus 11. Kusanov basically playing as the right winger for the start of that game. This game today, the exact same starting 11, but a totally different off-ball formation, going back to a 4-4-2, and a totally different philosophy as well. It's good to see that the same personnel can create different outcomes. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? That's really good to see. I'm really, really happy with that. Lots of positives, in my opinion. Lots of positives. What was the main positive that you guys took from it? Or the main negative? If you don't agree and you think there were more negatives, what was your main takeaway, let's say? Let's be more neutral. I'd say positive takeaway, but what was your main takeaway from it? Let me know. Let me know. As I say, make sure to leave a like on the video, guys. We got 115, but I want 150. I want 150 likes, yeah? Let's do that to get things started. Are we home or away? We are away against Huddersfield, sadly. Mohamed says, we can depend on O'Reilly. So long as he's not injured, I agree. If Haaland had to come off, would you be happy if Savio came in for him? I think this would keep the threat going forwards. Play Doku 9, Savio playing off him. Like today, do you mean? I'd rather do that than take off Doku, if that's what you mean. Yeah, definitely. Main positive, Doku is ready. Hell yes. Pops medallion. Hell yes. Main take was Ake is finished. Defense looks stable. Definitely. We are shit. Spartacus, what the hell? That was a joke. Main take probably this guy. Disappointing end, but good result overall. Solid defense, yes. Their confidence is growing and I haven't seen that in a minute. Definitely. At least Nunes slipping wasn't as bad as Cucurella slipping against Spurs last year. And the good thing about Nunes' slips were that they happened going forwards, at least. They happened going forwards. If they happened defensively, then there's another question, isn't there? But defensively today, he was really good. Defensive discipline. If somehow we can get a 2 to 3 goal lead and then do this witchcraft defense, we might become too good, says the Dark Knight. That's a really interesting point, isn't it? Yeah. That's certainly what we did against United. Is there a world where City can now not blow away, but as you say, get to 2-0 against a tricky opponent, 3-0 obviously, but if you can get to 1-2-0, can City shift mentality and hold on to leads? That's how we won the treble, ultimately. You know, there's a reason why we sang best defence in Europe. That when we went to the Champions League final in 2020-21, the main reason was because of our really good defence. We know that if you want to win titles, you've got to be good going forwards and good defensively. So that's definitely a thing, 100%, 100%. I think it's both. Arsenal were not good going forwards at all. At all. But we forced them to be pretty bad as well. We forced them to be bad. I think it's a bit of both. Good confidence as Andy. Gavardio's brilliant, better than Saliba. Yeah, Gavardio was very lovely. You called a draw and it happened, indeed. I called a 0-0 though, to be honest with you. Oh, Spartacus. Rodri looked good. Yeah, he did. Nunes was decent, yeah. I'd go further. I think Nunes was good. Holland looks fresh and hungry like I haven't seen some time. This team cooks in the Champions League knockout, so adaptive. Pep's still learning how to play defensively, when to drop deeper and invite pressure. That's a good point, isn't it? Yeah, we know that Pep is not a defensive manager. We know this. Before this season, I can't recall how many times City ever went to a back five. Even if you think of like the most conservative City games, like the one I can think of the most is the 18-19 season, I think it was, at Anfield. And City were far more conservative in their approach and did rely more so on the counter. But it was still like a 4-1-4-1 or a 4-3-3 that day. Like, it wasn't a back five, and City was still able to come forwards and threaten. And indeed, we should have won that game because we missed a penalty, and there should have been another penalty because Van Dijk fouled Sane in the box. I can't recall too many instances where Pep's leaned so deeply into this defensive bag, and that's good to see. Again, even in the treble year, even in that 21 year where we were really good defensively, was it ever to this level? I don't think it was. Now, maybe the reason we are, playing a back five, being even more defensive, is because we don't have the personnel to do it as well as before. Maybe that's a thing. Not sure. But either way, it's happened. It's a thing. And we know that off-ball adaptations take time. We are still only 5 games into the season. Is that right? 5 or 6 games into the season? So that is a thing. That is a thing that I think we can be happy with. I know I said I was going to stop talking about the goal, but just on this, I do think there is something in, even though, I so disagree that the higher line is the problem. I do agree, however, that there was I think that there was almost like a situation where, and to be fair, I did touch on this, where City were like caught in two minds. The players wanted to go forwards. Staffy, mate. Don't get me started. The players wanted to like go forwards. They shouldn't have done so. They should have gone to the side. They went to the centre. Caught in two minds is what I mean. So naturally the defence pushed up because otherwise you're leaving massive gaps. And maybe like there was the thing of, oh dear, now what do we do? Because we still haven't quite ironed this out, that sort of thing. I'm still massively disagreeing that the high line was fundamentally a problem. I think that is bad analysis, to be honest with you. And I'm a bit disappointed that the Sky punditry people focus so heavily on that. I don't think any of them even discussed the positioning of the goalkeeper there. Very odd. Very odd. And that has become the narrative, and I totally disagree. That is the talking point of that. Positive, everyone can finally forever shut up about Holland not scoring against Arsenal, even though they're wrong. Because even if he didn't score today, he's still got a great what's the word I'm after? Record. He's got a great record against them. Yoshko looks top after the injury, definitely. People have forgotten how we used to play counter with Sane and Sterling. True. What will Shirky bring to this game? He would probably bring like long passing from deep, I would say. That would probably be his main contribution. And like winning fouls also. Winning fouls also. South top 3 under 21 centre backs in the world. He's technically not under 21, but I know what you mean. He's by Premier League standards, he's under 21. Fernandinho was amazing that day, absolutely. 7 points out of 9. The last 3 isn't bad. Oliver, I think it's good. I think it's very good. Yeah, make sure to leave a like on the video. It is amazing. Yeah, so again, just briefly on this, the positioning isn't good. He takes too long to realize that he should be backing up. If you watch the replay, he is actually moving forwards and to the side when he should be moving backwards and to the side, if anything. So I can accept that his starting position is okay to be relatively high, even though I don't agree really, because no, like you're not going to be doing any sweeping, let's be honest. But let's assume that A was fine. You've then got to back off. And he had time to back off. I've watched it. He actually moves forward, if anything. That is an error, unfortunately. It's just, it's in the heat of the moment, and he makes the error. And it happens. And it happens. It's a thing. Yeah, Staffy, I thought you were joking because we did talk about it LF. If you've just joined, that's fairs. That is reasonable. Go back to this if you want to know my more in-depth thoughts. Then you can watch the end of my watch along where I provide the screen grabs like this, or you can go to the start of this one. Either way. Grealish would love this game, says Oliver. But Doku's doing everything that Grealish does. Like, if we think about, Grealish in these games, like, he wins fouls, he holds up play, he is a nasty player to play against. Like, Doku was doing that a lot. So I agree that Grealish would love this game, but what Doku was doing today was, I would say, more valuable, to be fair. I agree, Spartacus. I agree. 5 goals and 2 assists and 7 appearances versus Arsenal, according to StatMuse. I think that is right. Yeah, that's stupid. That is dumb. I don't understand. Yeah, Zubimendi's a good player, but Rodri is Rodri. Like, Rodri is Rodri. Let's not get cheeky here. Rodri is still Rodri. Let's chill. Fabregas to be Pep's replacement, says Natando, maybe. Just missing a space heater and a right back to be the best in the world, Belabor and Livramento. Fingers crossed. Yeah, if we get like an actual right back who can provide, who can be as solid defensively as like, Casanova and Nunes were today, but they can also offer loads going forwards, then that's a great time had by all, isn't it? That is a great time had by all. Sleeping might be slightly better than Guardiola, but Yoshiko has a higher ceiling. That's fair enough. Thoughts on Arteta's mistakes? Yeah, bad. You can't look at City this season and go, I'm gonna play a not proper left winger when I know that right back is a key area of attack. That's mad to do. That's really weird. That's 3 games in a row. If I'm the opponent and I'm looking at City, the first thing I do is target the right back. The last 3 games, United didn't do it because Dorgu's wank. Napoli didn't do it. Well, they had 10 men, to be fair. Whatever. And Arsenal didn't do it either until it was too late. Very odd. Why couldn't we play Arsenal head-on? I don't agree that City couldn't play Arsenal head-on based on this viewing. City made a conscious decision to not do it. That wasn't a case of Arsenal and Arteta forced Pep to do it. This is how City wanted to play. That was a conscious decision. So I don't even think it was a case of City couldn't play Arsenal head-on. I think, based on this viewing, we don't know. There is a world where they could have, tried to do so. It probably would have been the approach I would have gone for, but ultimately this has got us a point, and it could have got us a win. And if you look even before the goal, like, City were just happy to do it. They were happy to do it. So it was partly, it was a game plan, wasn't it? And again, it wasn't because Pep was scared. It wasn't because Arteta forced him into it. Pep just decided this is probably going to be the best way to get a result here. And he was very nearly close to a victory here. So there we go. It's a thing. Yeah, I don't understand. I don't really understand. Arteta saw Pep give a poor United 55% possession last week and said like he thought Pep wasn't going to concede possession. I know. it may be in big away games. I don't think we're going to play like this at the Etihad, though, really, for the most part. I'd be very surprised at that. I do think this is like on a case-by-case basis. I'm not saying Pep was scared. Thought he grew into it. I don't know who that's in reference to. Oh, Nunes. Nunes grew into it. At first, he looked very shaky. Defensively, I don't think he looked shaky, though, to be fair. Going to Toto, if Arsenal would have been a mistake. Romario looks like a very upset person. How you want to admit there were 3 mistakes before the keeper and still decide he is who was ultimately to blame? Try to think. Let me know if you're still struggling. Definitely play this at Anfield. Yeah, definitely. I totally agree. It was 100% intentional because of our problems with jumping fullbacks off position. Yeah, and we literally changed the off-ball structure. We went 4-4-2. I'll look back to see, was that straight from the off or was that just from the goal? Because that was the only time I really noticed it, watching it. But if it was indeed to just go 4-4-2, then that tells us that it was clearly an instruction. It was clearly an instruction. You get me? No other team in the world that we'd voluntarily concede that much possession to other than Arsenal. Yeah, maybe Liverpool as well. Thoughts on Gyökeres' performance? I wasn't too impressed. But it was one of those games where he didn't really have much of the ball, so I don't know if it's fair to judge him like that. Reinders Docker need to work on their link-up. It'll get there. And to be fair, there was a really good moment, wasn't there, where Reinders played it to Doku, and Doku had that effort. You can say about the midfield, the way they gave the majority of the ball to Arsenal's midfield. It's really difficult to keep the ball. Second half, yes. First half, no, because I thought we won the second ball battle in the first half. Can we play the back 5 at Anfield? The back 5 isn't something that you start with, though, is it? It's not something that you start with. And need to grant big games. Yeah, definitely. Temporary solution. I think you're right, Pedro. Arteta let you off the hook. It was not Pep decided, but it objectively was, because the off-ball was settled at the start, and the 4-4-2 was settled at the start. The change in off-ball structure was a conscious decision. Clearly. The City played like that from minute 1. That was a decision. Clearly. How do you feel about Nunes not wanting to be a right back and viewing himself as a midfielder? If he views himself as a midfielder, it ain't here. It ain't here. What do we need to improve? Asks Alex. And maybe like we could maybe we could wrap it up here. I don't know, because I have been live for just over an hour and I need to go have some tea. I need to go have some tea, some dinner. Do you guys say tea or dinner? I say both. This is for the evening meal. I say both. It depends on the context. If I'm going out with Mrs. Nobbins for like a lovely evening meal, I'm not gonna say, oh yeah, I'm gonna take you out for tea. You don't say that. I'm taking you out for dinner. We're going to go have a lovely dinner tonight. We're not going to go, oh, we're having a lovely tea tonight. No, you just don't say that. However, oh, what's for tea tonight? It's just like a standard thing. So I think there's a difference of formality. I think tea can definitely work. Dinner also works as the evening meal. But if you're saying, we're going to go out for tea and it's like a lovely, as I say, like candlelit romantic vibes in Dishoom or whatever, then you probably shouldn't be saying tea. If you're trying to pick up a girl and go, I want to take you out for tea, nah, say dinner, yeah. Tea is definitely a northern thing. As I say tea as well. It's definitely more of a northern thing, I'm pretty sure. It's interesting because when I was at school, they were called dinner ladies, even though that was lunch. But I would never say dinner for the meal between breakfast and the evening meal. Like, I'd always say lunch. I've never used dinner for lunch, even though they were dinner ladies. Weird one, isn't it? Philosophy, you know what I mean? Yeah, what do we need to improve? Oh, Daniel, not when I've been in Manchester, mate. Are you talking about the Manchester one? Nah, that's my favourite restaurant. I love that. I've never felt cramped, to be honest. I've always felt I've had a good amount of space. Yeah, what do we need to improve? As I discussed at the top of the show, I think what we need to improve... First of all, no, let's be positive for a second. I think a lot has improved. Mentality has improved. Defensive discipline has improved. Second ball winning and loose ball winning has improved. The ability to play a totally different style of football with the exact same starting 11, 3 games on the bounce, is something that's massively improved. What needs to be improved are the fundamental, small, little details. Killing games off. Haaland's pass to Foden that doesn't ever happen. That kills the game. 2-0 up in, what was that, like the 60th minute? That kills the game. That takes the wind out of Arsenal sails. We can commit even more to defending, who knows? That kills the game. That's a good one by Oliver, yeah. Precision and sharpness in the final third, I don't disagree with that. There was some sloppiness, wasn't there? Absolutely there was, in the second half. Positioning on the goal from the goalkeeper, that needs to improve. And that might just come with he wasn't quite sure as to what his starting position should have been, given the gap between his defensive line. And I can excuse that, but I can't excuse the inability to move backwards. Clearly, that had to happen. I guess being bolder in the challenge, if we're attributing that to Ake as well. We've touched on not giving the ball away. So, in sum, what to improve? Small details. The bigger picture looked good based off today. I thought the bigger picture was good today. But it's the small details, I think. But overall, I'm quite bullish and quite positive on this performance. It's a thing. But let me know, guys, what do you think needs to improve? Like, if there was like a small detail or whatever, what do you guys think? See, supper to me is, and I don't know, we never actually say supper, to be honest. But if I was going to have, so for example, last night, Mrs. Nobbins and I, we had a lovely date night tonight together, and we had our evening meal. We had dinner. It was lovely. We had a starter of a prawn. What's it called? We have them on like cooked bread. I don't know what the term is. With like dipping oil and garlic and chili, and then for main course we had a lovely spaghetti with more prawns and chorizo. It was very delicious. And then sort of like a couple hours later, I just got really hungry, and I was like, I need to have some. I want some chicken dippers. Like I just want some shit food that you can make in like 10 minutes. That would technically be supper because it's like the last meal. It's not quite tea/dinner, but it's like a snack in a way, but it's a bit bigger than just like a packet of crisps, which would just be a snack. Do you get me? So that would have been supper. That would have been supper. That's fair. I've never had that issue personally. I've been to the one in Manchester, obviously, and London as well. Build up is the biggest thing we need to improve, says Fenway. Keeping possession has declined. Pragmatic Pep will be there. Pep is finished is an interesting take. The league seems to be moving away from possession football. We can't rely on dominating possession if we are relying on long balls. Yes, you do have to pick your battles, don't you? You can't have your cake and eat it, you know? You can't have your cake and eat it. Last year we collapsed. It's a huge improvement, says Oliver. Yeah, I'm quite happy. Maybe, Oliver, yeah, maybe. He's just like laundry. Like I said, light at the end of the tunnel. I think an unfortunate result, but we played well. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. And, you know, on another day, Haaland squares that to Foden and we win 2-0. Or, you know, on another day, Donnarumma doesn't get his positioning wrong for the goal and we win the game. It's that sort of thing. Most people predicted us to lose and lose quite badly today. And the fact that we didn't, and I would say arguably we're the better side overall based on that context. Can't think of too many great chances that Arsenal had. There was the one in the first half, which was to Donnarumma's near post, which he was always going to save. I can't remember that many in the second half. Obviously, there was the goal, but it wasn't like City were hanging on by a thread and relying on Donnarumma to bail us out every single time. They weren't particularly creative overall, and maybe that was partly influenced by our good defending as well. I'm not sure, but either way, I'm chill. Number 21, our performance in defensive terms got overhyped. I don't think we learned anything. What? I don't agree at all. We've seen that City can get pulled apart off ball. We saw it against United. The amount of times where we were in a settled defensive shape and United just played through our entire midfield and then got into a dangerous position. That's not right. That's not right, to be honest. No, I'm going to massively disagree with that. The threat of the corners made the scoring opportunities for Arsenal seem more than they were. Yeah, and first half, Donnarumma dealt with all of them. Second half, was a little bit... It was, of course, at half-time, I tweeted saying, I'm really impressed with Donnarumma's ability to claim these crosses and, you know, punch out, because that's been a weakness of his across his career. And then, obviously, in the second half, that weakness got exposed, and that was a bit annoying because it made me look like a mug. By tweeting how happy I was with that. So that was too early. But there we go. That's the thing. Side note, there are lots of... We know this. Most people are idiots, yeah? In what way is Donnarumma's ability to claim crosses now, in the present, in what way does that alter the past? The answer is it doesn't. You got morons in like the replies to my tweet. Like, I hate idiots so much, man. Who were saying, just admit your analysis was wrong. No, because the past still fucking happened, you little troglodyte. What is your problem? The past still happened. If, oh, okay, I don't know. Like, what's a mental example? I don't know. Let's say that when Haaland joined City, let's all say that, okay, he's not particularly good at the link-up play. Let's say that across his career, he's not been that good at link-up play. If in his first season, he had the link-up play of Lionel Messi, that does not change the statement of across his career, he's not been good at link-up play, as an example. I can't really think of too many other examples. Basically, if there's a player who has a trait or has the opposite of a trait for the whole career, but now it's improving, that does not change the reality of the past. This isn't Back to the Future. You can't go back in time and change it. The past has still happened. The analysis is still correct. It's very frustrating. And Jack's just said it there, yeah. When you spend so long and you put in so many hours analysing, watching matches, reaching correct conclusions, and then people go, oh, well, actually, based on this game that I've watched, you're wrong. No, because the whole point of that video clearly was about his career up until now. I can't make a prediction necessarily, and if I am to make a prediction, how can you make predictions? The closest thing you can do is base it off the past. That is all you can do. That is literally all you can do. The past can inform the future. I hate idiots, man. I fucking hate them. Most football fans are idiots. Most people are idiots. And they should just they should be ashamed of themselves. Yeah, they are little troglodytes. They are. I just don't get it. I don't get it. It's odd, man. It is odd. So, and people say, oh, actually, Donnarumma's distribution isn't as bad as it was made out to be. It fucking is. Just because you not watch enough of him, just because, like, again, if Donnarumma tomorrow turns into Edison on ball, that does not change the reality of what came before it. The past is still the past, and it still happened, funnily enough. An improvement now, on like an exponential level, changes nothing about the reality of the past. And the reality of the career prior. That was the whole point of the video. Fuck it. I know I shouldn't let idiots get to me, but I fucking do, guys. I can't stand them. I can't stand idiots, and I should just, like, ignore them, but I can't. I can't stop it. I keep biting. I know I should stop. I know I should move on, but I can't do it. Guys, that was the video. Thank you so much for watching. We got to 150 likes, which is great. Thank you so much for that. Big up to you all. I do, and I know that it's probably not entertaining for you guys to watch. I'm so sorry. I know that it's not entertaining. You want to watch analysis, and you don't want to watch Nobbins lose his mind over idiots, and I shouldn't let them get to me. But I do, guys. I can't. You know, like LB, because I speak to LB about this, and he says just don't even read the comments. Or, you know, like in the YouTubers, because like LB said he doesn't even read his own comments like most of the time, and if he does, he never replies to them. Like if like someone's saying something mad, he will just like ignore it. I can't do that. I can't do that. There's something in me that says, no, I need to challenge that because that's wrong. That's not fair to me. I need to challenge this, and then it leads to a massive back and forth, and then I just like lose my brain. Once per chat is fun. Yeah, okay, fair, Finley. Thank you guys so much for watching. Big up to my gorgeous members such as Femway who are helping support the channel. While City may be, you know, a bit back and forth and a little bit not consistent or whatever the term is, the channel has never been better in respect of, I think, in respect of my content. It's never been better in respect of numbers. Like, for example, like that, just that tactical preview from the Arsenal game. It's got 16,000 views. That's amazing. Like the one before that, 13,000, 25,000, 14,000, 18,000, 12,000, 10,000, 12,000, 10,000, 22,000, 10,000, 16,000, etc. So thank you so much for all your support. It's never been better on this channel in respect of everything. Exactly, yeah, we're on... That's a good point, Jack. Yeah, we're on 29,000. Yesterday I was on 28,000 and something, so I've gained like an extra couple hundred subscribers already. How many did I gain from that preview video? Let's have a look. I'm letting you guys into my analytics. To be fair, only 100 subscribers from that Game Breakers one. I wonder what the spike was from then. Where's the 200 come from? Well, that's 100 to be fair. Maybe from the stream today, I'm not sure. Either way, maybe from the shorts actually. Maybe that's a thing. But either way, it's never been better. We're on the road to 30k, of course. The target is 100,000 subscribers. That is my target. That is what I want. That is my dream. I really think we can do it. We are nearly a third of... That's scary, man. I'm nearly the third of the way there. 4,000 away from being a third of the way there to my dream. A dream that I've had since... I want to say 2009, 2010. Obviously, I didn't have a YouTube channel like in 2009, whatever, but it was always my dream to do that. And we are so close. We're so close to that. So yeah, thank you all so much. I won that silver play button, man. I'm fucking gagging for that shit, man. You don't understand how happy I would be if that happened. Thank you all for watching my rant. Thank you all for everything, as always. Truly, sincerely, genuinely. I will be on LNobbins tomorrow at 11 AM. So make sure to join me for that. I'm sure we'll discuss the match. I have no idea what LB's take on it is because I've not seen what he's thought of it. So that will be interesting. So make sure to join me for that. I will make sure there is an analysis video out of the Arsenal game. I'm going to watch it back. Maybe tonight. Probably more likely tomorrow morning. And I'll try to get that out. No, I will get that out tomorrow along with a short 5 observations from... if you've got any observations that you want to feature, so I don't have to do any work, leave them as a comment on this video or something like that. And then what's the plan? We'll do Touchline Talk on Tuesday. I'll finally, we haven't done an Ask Nobbins in ages. I'll upload that on Tuesday, just because we've had lots of congested matches, so that's a thing. And then your normal service will resume. If you're still here, last thing to say. Oh, this link's not going to work, is it? Because my bot's broken. My bot's broken, isn't it? That's a shame. Yeah. If you're still here... Oh my gosh, what on earth is that? If you're still here, I'm assuming that you like me. You get me? Yeah, I know, this is yapping. I'm from Yapistan. I also live stream on Twitch. It's LNobbins, it's twitch.tv/LNobbins. Go and follow it. Yeah? Go and follow the Twitch. It is free. And it's not actually gone in. There we go. Twitch.tv/LNobbins. There we go. The link is in the video description as well. Go follow. It's a lot of fun over there. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays, every single evening. There we go. Big up to you, mate. Thank you for following. I'll catch you all later. Bye-bye.